If you haven't been paying attention, Zillow messed up. They bought thousands of houses for billions of dollars, and now they are abandoning their iBuyer program altogether and laying off hundreds of employees. In today's video, I'm going to go over what we can learn from Zillow, what this means for the market, and what you can do about it. Hey guys, I'm Hoan. Welcome to the Hoan Zone, where we help you multiply the assets you own. I've been a real estate investor for the last 10 years, so I'm very familiar with Zillow. But for those who don't know who or what Zillow is, it's a tech company. It's a website where people go to figure out what to sell their houses for, what to rent their houses for. Real estate agents use Zillow for leads, and they came up with the infamous Zestimate. The Zestimate is what tells homeowners what their house could be worth. And the problem is, it's always wrong unless it's right. And we don't know when it is right or wrong. So when I'm dealing with sellers and I'm trying to buy their property, they often bring up Zillow and they go, hey, here's the Zestimate of my house. This is what I want to sell it for. And then I have to break the news to them that that's not what their house is worth. All right, so let's talk about the topic at hand, and that is Zillow and their iBuyer program. So let me go on their website and read exactly what this iBuyer program is for those who don't know. It says Zillow offers is an iBuyer program or instant home buying program. It offers you an easy way to sell your home without even listing it. Instead of the traditional selling steps, Zillow makes cash offers on homes online without even seeing them. Interesting, right? On this channel, I try to help you guys multiply the assets you own by teaching you guys strategies and tactics so that you can create a profitable business. Zillow here is a tech company, not a real estate company. They are trying to get into the real estate space and apply all of their tech wizardry and then see if they can squeeze out profits through efficiencies. The problem is real estate is really nuancy. It's really customized, and to not see a property before buying it is a huge mistake because there's so many things that can go wrong with a property. I've walked through hundreds of properties and I've bought a ton of them, and every single property was different. Unless I was buying that property for a super steep discount, there is no way I would buy the property without seeing it. Now, I could master a neighborhood, right? I could master a neighborhood and understand what the houses are going to look like, what I'm going to need to replace, and there is some level of comfort there when I'm buying these properties. But Zillow, they are hiring employees who are not the owners of the businesses, right? They are employees just trying to get their paycheck, and they, I think, were incentivized to buy more properties. So it didn't matter what they were buying the properties for. And so when I'm buying a property, I try to buy it at a steep discount. Zillow was paying full retail. So Zillow was violating my first rule. If you guys are a part of the Hoan Zone community, or you have any of my courses, then you would know the first rule of real estate investing is to always buy at a discount. That's why we are buying. And that is why we are real estate investors and maybe not stock investors. When you buy real estate, you get to buy at a discount. When you buy stocks, you are buying it at full market price in hopes that it's going to go up. Real estate, we know that when we're buying it, that it is at a discount, so we already have that equity when we buy the property. Real estate overall is a simple business. It is a property where somebody's going to either live in it through renting it or by owning it. And that is it, right? That's the basic premise of real estate and real estate investing. Now, where Zillow went wrong is they assumed that they could have employees manage the whole process from buying to fixing to selling. And in between the buying and the selling, the fixing part is where Zillow got really screwed. What they don't realize is hiring a contractor isn't that easy. That is probably the riskiest part and the most difficult part of the whole entire process. And if you are not in the business of investing, you don't really know the nuances of hiring a contractor. A contractor can tell you that they're good and then not be good. They can take your deposit and run off. They can take too long on a job, and then they can just quit in the middle of it for no reason whatsoever. And so with all of these things, you're going to have to really be involved, hands-on. And if you're just an employee for Zillow, you really don't care, to be honest, right? And so you're buying a property for too much money, and then you're going to fix it up with a contractor you probably never used. And then when things hit the fan, it gets even worse. So Zillow found that out the hard way. So what can we learn from Zillow here? Don't underestimate how difficult it could be. So why everybody isn't an investor is because there are parts that are really difficult. And if you can nail the contracting part down, then you have a huge advantage over other investors who are trying to get into the business. Now, I've watched other videos on this topic about Zillow and them unloading all their properties, and people are saying, is this the start of the downturn? I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think? Do you think this is going to be the start of the downturn? My opinion, absolutely not. Zillow is not that big. Zillow is a big company, but it's not that big to be like, oh, we messed up and we're going to cause the whole market to collapse. There are tons of people who've never even heard of Zillow. So I don't think this is the start of any kind of collapse whatsoever, because we still have 4 or 5 million houses that need to be built to meet the demand that is currently there. So based on how many houses are being constructed, we're not going to meet that demand for years and years and years, right? So as long as interest rates don't skyrocket, then the supply and demand curve or ratio, that's going to cause us to be in this kind of market where the prices are going to be sky high. Zillow wishes probably that if they were big enough to crash the whole market, but they're just not that, okay? So I don't want you guys mixing the two. And I say this because I know some of you guys might be confused and get kind of scared and think this might be the end of the market that we see it in. I don't think so. I think next year we're going to have just as good of a market, if not better. And people keep worrying about this 2008 crash that we experienced, right? 2008's crash happened because of the loose mortgages that were being given out to different buyers. What's happening today, because I help people get loans, I'm not seeing these loans that are so easy to get. It's not anything like 2008. Your credit scores need to be super high. Your credit report needs to be pristine. You need to have money in the bank. You need to have income. All of these things are in place so that we don't have another 2008. And will the market crash if we keep staring at it and going, when are you going to crash? When are you going to crash? Right? I just don't see it. There's a lot of people who are sitting in cash and are saying, well, when the market crashes, I'm going to buy up a whole bunch of stuff. Well, it may not crash, and you might be sitting on your money for a very long time, so you're missing out on opportunity cost. Something interesting that happened that none of us really saw was that the pandemic caused a bunch of wages to go up. It's like $15 an hour to work at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's and stuff like that, right? So people are getting paid way more. So if people are getting paid way more, that means that they can spend more on things like housing. So the prices for the houses are still within the reach of those who are buying it. So those who are in their 20s or 30s or 40s, that buying pool, they're still interested in buying houses because they can afford them. So with Zillow selling 7,000 houses, does that mean that all of a sudden that we're going to have so much supply that it's going to meet the demand? The answer is absolutely not, because they're not actually going to be selling them on the open market. They're going to be selling it to other hedge funds and institutional buyers. So these buyers are going to be gobbling up all the properties and then renting them back out. If you watch my last video about inflation and how that's going to destroy the middle class and how it's going to separate the poor and the rich, then you understand how big of a problem this is. We're going to have all of these institutions who own all of the properties, and then they're going to rent them out. The vast majority of people who have wealth in this country have it because of real estate. They own a house, it goes up in value over time, they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. A renter doesn't have any of that. So if you never buy a house, the likelihood of you becoming very wealthy over time is very low, because people don't have anything that grows quite like real estate. So with all of these institutional buyers buying these properties, that's a bad thing for you guys. So what do you do now? Now that you know this, now that you're watching this video, your job, multiply the assets you own as fast as possible, because these buyers are still buying. Though Zillow is out of the business as an iBuyer, there are other companies who are still doing it. BlackRock, the hedge fund, is buying up a bunch of properties as well. And so eventually there's going to be only hedge funds and other institutions that own all the properties, and people like you and I, we won't own anything. So this is your opportunity right now to buy as many properties as you can and hold on to them, because you may not have this opportunity anymore. This idea of the American dream and owning a home, that might not be a thing in the future. Now, what is the big opportunity here because Zillow messed up? I think the opportunity is in buying Zillow stock. Remember when I was saying that you're going to buy it at market price earlier in the video? Well, I believe that Zillow's price, even though it is market, it is low relative to its history. And if Zillow gets its act together, I do believe that they are going to be a giant tech company that is going to make major impacts on the real estate space. So now you guys get to buy Zillow stock at the lowest price possible. And because they canceled their iBuyer program, they are smarter for it. So they make a mistake, so what, right? They lose a bunch of money, and that's never good, right? Warren Buffett's rule was don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1, which is don't lose money. So Zillow, they lost a bunch of money, but they learned from it. And these big companies, they don't go out without a fight. I believe that you get to buy Zillow at a super, super low price. And if they focus on their core competency, which was selling leads to real estate agents and just being that hub where all the leads come in, I think they can do really, really well in the future. So they just have to recalibrate what they're doing and focus on what they do best, which is being that hub for buyers and sellers to come on. Now, of course, I have to make the disclaimer, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and I'm just telling you guys what I think I want to do. So if you guys are interested in following along, that is at your own risk. It's easy to point at Zillow and laugh at them for making such a big mistake and say, like, how could you guys not see that? How could you guys make such a big mistake? And it's easy to say that from the comforts of our living room. But I commend Zillow for taking the chance to try to buy up all the real estate and sell it and make a profit, because if it worked, then they would have been a genius. So we don't always make it right. We don't always hit the home run or the grand slam. And so you guys as entrepreneurs, you guys are going to be in Zillow's seat one day where you're going to have to make a decision, and you're not going to know whether it's going to be right or wrong at the moment. So again, it's easy to criticize from our living rooms, just pointing and laughing. But as an entrepreneur, it will be your day one day to make that hard decision, and hopefully you come out successful, but you may not as well. So maybe take it easy on Zillow. All right, guys, if you like that video, make sure you hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button, because I release new videos every Monday and Wednesday here on the Hoan Zone. Also hit that bell icon so that you are notified when these videos are released. And if anybody is interested in joining the Hoan Zone community, simply go to hoanzone.com/community. That is where I share with you guys my strategies and also potential deals that you get to buy. And if you're interested in being a real estate investor, you better act fast, because these hedge funds and institutions, they're going to be buying up the properties. So if you don't act, you won't be able to buy properties in the future. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'm Hoan Tai. Let's multiply.